In this century, great strides have been made toward the goal of subverting our republic into a democracy. The foremost tactic of the subverters is subversion of language. By calling America a democracy until people thoughtlessly accept and use the term, the totalitarians have obscured the real meaning of our principles of government. That is a summary of my report on a constitutional republic, not a democracy.
Welcome back to Notify America. We have multiple pressing stories to get to, stories that include big government coming in this week and dropping the hammer on a small Amish farm in southeastern Pennsylvania. You may have heard about this, a guy named Amos Miller, an Amish farmer. Well, we have the details, we have some new information, and the U.S. Supreme Court agrees to hold a special session to hear Trump's Colorado ballot appeal, coming back from vacation in the middle of their break to hear this case, which is good news because it could mean the end of all this craziness that we've all been dealing with over the last few weeks, trying to work these lawsuits through the court system up to the state Supreme Courts to pull Trump off the ballots. And 9 state capitals were forced to evacuate this week after what the FBI calls fake blast threats. And Megyn Kelly apparently has the scoop of a century, something that could be the ultimate October surprise. Now, we're not saying it is. We don't know what it is. But we have the clip. We'll watch it together. Before we get started, press the like button, subscribe, share the video with a friend. All that helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Big government dropping the hammer on a small Amish farm in southeastern PA. The Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture with state troopers raided an organic Amish farm in southeastern PA on Thursday. The farm's owned by Amos Miller, who specializes in selling raw milk, organic eggs, grass-fed beef, and other types of natural foods to private buyers, to private informed buyers. Miller's been under scrutiny for a while by the USDA for what they say are his repeated non-compliance with federal farming regulations. This is like one man, by the way, taking on the government for what he believes are his rights to grow, sell, and provide food to himself, his family, his community, free from government intervention. This isn't like some major corporation here that we're talking about where regulations may make sense. We're not talking about Tyson Foods, where you may want some regulation, as most people don't think twice when they walk into a supermarket and they buy chicken or steak. They just grab whatever looks good and is cheap. But Amos Miller's customers are private buyers, private informed buyers who seek his products out because they are organic, grown and harvested with no electricity, no chemicals, no fertilizers. They don't use jabs on the animals, nor any petroleum products whatsoever. He's quite literally going against the meat and milk industrial complex. Thomas Massey tweeted this, or wrote on X, "Looks like Amos Miller's farm is being raided. With all the problems in society today, this is what the government wants to focus on. A man growing food for informed customers without participating in the industrial meat-milk complex." In another story, the U.S. Supreme Court will hold a special session to hear Trump's Colorado ballot appeal. They're coming back from their break, the middle of their vacation, to get this over with. They've agreed to hear the full appeal in the Colorado decision to remove and disqualify Trump from their state's presidential election. And like I said, they rejected efforts to limit the scope of the case. The court will hold a special session on February 8th to expedite the review, the outcome of which could significantly impact Trump's bid, by the way, for the presidency. Either it could solidify his candidacy or it could potentially end it, as the Supreme Court is the final arbiter here. If they were to side with Colorado, which is unlikely but possible, that would make things exceptionally more difficult for the Trump campaign. Not to mention, we're coming down to the wire here. The first elections take place in the coming weeks, with Iowa's caucus scheduled for January 15th and New Hampshire's primary is scheduled for January 23rd, just 1 and 2 weeks away. In another story, an Alaska Airlines plane makes emergency landing in Portland, Oregon, after one of the windows on the plane blew out midair. Passengers recorded the incident on their cell phones while other passengers were in the process of losing items that got sucked out the window.
this wasn't even the emergency door. We're at the end of the plane, so the emergency door is right there. It was just a piece of the plane.
In another story, 9 state capitals were forced to evacuate this week after fake blast threats, according to the FBI. Here's what the Associated Press says. A blast threat emailed to officials in several states early Wednesday briefly disrupted government affairs and prompted some state capital evacuations, but no blasts were found, and federal officials quickly dismissed all of this as a hoax. In total, there were 9 states, Connecticut, Georgia, Hawaii, Kentucky, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, and Montana were among the states that evacuated state house offices or buildings. And according to the AP, the FBI says that all of this was just a hoax. But they didn't give any additional information. This all happened just a few days ago. Well, 4 days later, and we still don't have any information. We don't know who sent the emails. We don't know why the emails were sent. We don't know if it was a joke or a deliberate action by some foreign state. All questions that need answers. 9 state capitals, folks, according to the AP, were affected, disrupted. Just a very odd story that's missing a lot of information. Megyn Kelly, former Fox News anchor, has a bombshell scoop, she says. All of the information that we've been hearing these last few days surrounding the Ghislaine Maxwell court documents that were just dumped, well, Megyn Kelly says this is not the last time that we're going to be hearing about Epstein, nor is it the last that we're going to be hearing from him, she says. Watch this.
And we're not done with Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you that for a fact. Can't tell you how I know, but I can tell you for a fact we're going to hear a lot more about Jeffrey Epstein in the coming year. And you may be even hearing from him directly. More on that as I'm allowed to tell you.